as successful entrepreneurs, we're not afraid of change. We're not afraid of adopting new practices when we need them. It doesn't matter whether it's internal or external. If it's related to mindset or habits or changing our perspective, we're happy to do that. If it's about business performance and we need to learn a new skill, develop an expertise that we don't have, or find somebody to offload that challenge to, we're going to do it because we're driven to create the kind of reality, life, and world that we want to live in. And unlike most people, we are able to do it. The challenge with this approach is simple. There is a moment where it is not possible to identify the underlying cause of whatever the symptom is that we're trying to work on. It can't be defined because it's not a problem. It's a state, it's a condition. Imposter syndrome, feeling like we're sabotaging ourselves, occasional feelings that we've hit an upper limit of our capability, or we can't get ourselves organized or more productive, or scale from one level of revenue to another, are problems. And they have underlying causes that can be identified and solved with good solutions. When you have the feeling that you're on the verge of everything, but you're not quite there, in other words, something is missing, or you feel like the external results no longer make you feel the way they used to. In some cases, it does feel like a catastrophe where there's a crisis. And you can see that what you've built may be taken away from you. It doesn't matter. The common theme between all of this is the feeling that something's missing. That's not a problem to be solved. That is a condition of life that is meant to be explored. It is perhaps the greatest opportunity a human being can be offered. What happens if you don't explore it, and instead you look for a problem to solve and go and solve it? It won't work, even if it works. Jim Carrey explains this to us really well when he says, I wish that everybody could become rich and famous and get everything they've always wanted, to realize that it's not the answer. What happens when you make the bad choice? We have the road less traveled and we have the road well traveled. When you decide, when you have a little feeling something's not quite right and you go down the road well traveled, you will feel a sense inside yourself that something is missing, and you will feel that sense expand. That is called living a life of quiet desperation. Those who live a life of quiet desperation are ignoring what's going on inside their true nature. It is a wake-up call. It is a cry telling you, you are meant for something better, and we would like you to pay attention to this right now and do something about it no matter what. How do I know this? I know that everything we were taught is wrong from my own experience. That is a confusing statement that I'll explain. I know that there is a veil that exists between me and the view of the world that I had and the view of the world that I now have that has been removed. as I made my leap from the ordinary world of external experience, of problems and solutions to problems, into the magical world of creation, viewing reality as it really is, and meeting my true self, everything changed. Once you make that leap, you cannot go back, whether you want to or not. And you don't, because it's great. Red Pill Pathway is not a program. It's not a coaching system. It's not an external solution to an underlying cause of a problem. It's a way to access your inner truth and to leap into the magical world of clarity experiences, meaning that your activity and the power that comes from inside you is fully opened and accessible to you at all times. You are able to do things you never thought was possible. This has been my experience. I opened up the door to this on September 20th at 5 o'clock in the morning in 2020, where I had this wake-up call. There's this little voice. I write about this in my fable, which you can read. It said, get up, do something. It's time. And do this every day. What was that little voice? I listened to it. I turned my business over to somebody to run. I jumped into the unknown. I put my retirement at risk and my family's future, following a little voice that said, get up. What it really said was, wake up. Do not live a life of quiet desperation. You don't even know that you're feeling that something's missing. You think the problem is your business is killing you, the revenue's unstable, you're working too hard. And none of that is what the real problem is. So as the Red Pill Pathway came clear on February 23rd of 2023, it began because I made a leap into this magical world. The magical world of clarity experience is not my world. It is the world. It is the world that is open and accessible to all of us if we will only just pay attention to the little voice inside. It's really that simple. The difference between living in the magical world and living in the ordinary world is hard to even describe because it can't be described. It can only be experienced. The Red Pill Pathway was provided to me. This is how it works. Fundamental truth systems that allow for access to your core inner self, your inner being, and the opportunity to use what's inside of you in the world of activity with power, purpose, impact, and influence comes from lowering the veil between the reality you think is real, which is not. Everything we were taught is wrong. And I mean that. And the world as it truly is. And you as you truly are. And your opportunities and capabilities as they truly are. That's what the Red Pill Pathway is all about. It is not my program. It is our program. In other words, it's for all of us from all of us. Everything like this comes from the same place. Picasso's paintings did not come from Picasso. Leonardo da Vinci's drawings did not come from Leonardo da Vinci. Beethoven's symphonies did not come from Beethoven. Is this as fabulous as one of those things? Yes, it is. It is perfect in its own right. This does not make me any better than anybody else. It means that I allowed this to happen, and I allowed this to come through me to you like a great Willie Nelson song. In the next video, I'm going to explain more about how the red pill pathway works.